Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Bigman Gaming, and of course, as always, I am your Bigman Gamer, Butch. And today, if you guys have been following, some of you may be living under a rock. Good lord, I hope not. But for those of you that have not been living under said rock, I just wanted to let you know that Xbox did their big reveal today. And just letting you know that I kind of got a new headset here going on, so I'm trying it out, seeing how it works, and seeing if everything works well in this way. Still doing the webcam format, but also doing the mics that way. It kind of sounds better. I know it's kind of a warm day, so I've got the AC running in my apartment, and don't want that interfering with the audio. So we're gonna try this and see how it sounds. But back to the subject at hand, Xbox reveal, and it is called the Xbox One. Just gotta say, was surprised about the name. I mean, there was a bunch thrown out, Xbox 720, the Xbox Infinity, Durango, Nextbox. There was different ones thrown about. Xbox One, definitely was not expecting it. The only way that I can see it is the way it was put was the Xbox obviously was itself, and there wasn't a second one, so they named it Xbox. And then obviously you have the 360, and then in the 360, you do a full 360, and obviously you end back up at the point you started with, which would be your original point, which would be back at 1, I guess. I don't know, that doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, I get the idea, but the naming of it doesn't really make sense, I guess. They came out and started the conference, and in typical fashion gave the whole big speech about how this is the future and the next thing, and the amazing media center of gaming. And I'm going to start at the beginning-ish, I guess. In a way, I agree. This is the next biggest thing, but as a gamer and somebody that has gamed his whole life, starting from the very bottom, from the Atari to the NES to the Super Nintendo, this is obviously very different. Even the 360 isn't as advanced. I mean, yeah, you can watch Netflix and you watch other things, but they got into describing it, and the guy came out and he's just like, Xbox on, and it turned on. And we have the Kinect functions. We can say whatever to the Kinect, and it does it. But the way that they integrate it now, where you watch live TV, they show that you could watch your live TV. You can hook up through your cable, and you can then watch your live TV off your Xbox, which is cool. I don't have TV. I have an antenna, so I can watch Packer games. Otherwise, I watch Netflix and Hulu and YouTube. So that's not really something that would benefit me. But I as an innovation, that is cool. That is awesome. Just not something that I necessarily need. The other thing that I thought was cool is that it was like instant switching back and forth, where he's like, oh, Xbox TV, and it switched to TV, then he's like, Xbox Music, Xbox Game, and it switched like instantly, it just switched. Cool, which is one of the things I like, because there have been times where I've been on Netflix, and my buddies are like, hey, let's play this game, and I have to take the time, like, okay, let me back out to the dashboard, let me, do this, let me, okay, the game's loading, whatever, and it's just like, now I can be on Netflix and be like, Xbox, start up Halo, and, or Halo 4, or whatever, Halo 5, once it comes out, and then I can actually do it, and it'll be instant, it'll be fast, and the fact that you can have Skype calls, video, and you can have conference calls. Like I can get my buddy Brian, I can get my buddy Tyler, other people that I like to talk to. I mean, there's even YouTube friends that I could get on here that I have their gamer tags, that I could we get into a voice chat on there and actually be like, hey, let's do a collab video somehow. This is the way we're gonna do it. And I thought it was really cool. All the functions, Internet Explorer, obviously they use Bing because that's the Microsoft thing, and obviously not everybody uses Bing. I mean, I don't. I use Google because it's always worked. Then they laid out some specs for it, which I thought were really cool. All the it's got the 8 gigabytes of DDR3, and it's gonna have a 500 gigabyte hard drive, and all the different things that it went into, and I was trying to write as fast as I could. I mean, I could look them up right now, but you can easily do that. I'm actually gonna refer you guys to a website down below in the comments to a buddy of mine who actually got it all, and I'll put the link to it in the description. But then also it's got Blu-ray, which I thought was really cool because I know PS3 had the Blu-ray, and I know it's a Sony thing, so Xbox couldn't get it for a while, and it was a big thing. But now it's going to come standard, and I have a Blu-ray player that's actually my surround sound. My Xbox 360 is hooked into it, and I don't really use it because it's a hassle. I have to switch over, and I have a handful of Blu-rays that they're behind me here in my case, but it's not something like, oh, I can readily just whatever, here's a Blu-ray, bam. But this, it's just like, oh, I don't have to switch anything. I don't, and like I said, it's not like I really have. I mean, a handful of things, so it's not huge, but I still think it's cool. The fact that this system now has a Blu-ray player. And then they also stated on some of the other specs. There's 3 operating systems in it. So that way, they can work from the kernel for the Windows aspect, and then the gamers, and then anybody that was and that too, the editing was that in game you have DVR recording on standard on any game. So you're playing whatever, and it's going to DVR record that, and you can edit it and then upload it to YouTube, to your personal channel of anything, your personal Facebook, if you have a website, it DVR records right off. Thought that was cool. Was the coolest thing ever. I was like, no, I don't have to buy a capture card anymore. Like my friend Brian has one for when I've done review videos on certain games. We had to use the capture card, get it hooked up, and sometimes the sound didn't work and it was a mess. This automatically does it, and I don't have to worry about it. And it's cool because it does all these algorithms at 13 billionths of a second, and has all these integrated devices. Like I've got a Windows phone, I've got my laptop, I've got a desktop, and obviously those things are all really integrated anyway. But it's going to be, Android, iPhone, pretty much anything that could be in your living room, it's going to integrate with and work with, and I thought that was really cool. Obviously, Xbox Live is still going to be there. They're going to upgrade it so it's more personal, more powerful. The down things on the things that I saw. They didn't specifically come out and say, hey, the Xbox always has to be online, or it doesn't. They didn't, as far as I know. They could have, and like I said, I was writing down everything I could as fast as I could, so I might have missed it. But I didn't specifically hear them say you can't play used games. But of course, those are the rumors. And the used game thing, I can see it not happening, just because they're trying to get rid of it, and the fact that I believe it was stated that games automatically write to the hard drive when you put them in. So I could see that. Am I a fan of it? No. Because I like to, especially if it's a game that I don't know about, or something that I rented once, and I'm like, yeah, it could be fun, but I don't know if I necessarily want it. Or if it's a game that, on a whim, like, hey, I used to play this 5 years ago, I want to pick it up again, but I don't want to pay full price. I know a while back I bought a PS2 because there were games on it that I loved. The GTA Vice City. Yeah, I could have gotten it on a regular Xbox, but I didn't like it as much except on PS2. And Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 I bought on there, and then I think the Lord of the Rings game and the Star Wars game, and those were old games that I liked, and and I picked up a used PS2 and those used games, and I think I paid under $100. And that's one of those things, like, used games aren't necessarily evil. Game companies are, oh, well, we need to make a profit, and we need to do this, and we need to do that. I understand that. And you've made that profit once you've sold it the first time. I mean, come on, does EA really need any more money? Does Microsoft really need any more money? I mean, they came out and said $65 billion market. So what if you lose $20 on a used game? But the reason I say this is because I used to work in the video game industry of selling, of the retail version. And you'd get those people that would come in and you could tell they're not well off, money wise. And their kid would come in, and their kids, between the ages of 8 and 13, and they'd come in once every 6 months, and they'd be like, "Oh, can I get a game?" And they'd be like, "Yeah, it's got to be a used game because it's usually between 20 and 30 bucks, or even under 20 bucks." But it's because they're not that well off, And what about those families? And then you're gonna be like, "Well, then they can't afford the system." Well, maybe they splurged at Christmas time because their kid really wanted one. I haven't always been well off. I'm still not really well off. I mean, everything that I do have, I've worked my butt off for, or even the things that are up here. I mean, this Halo poster was given to me by my brother-in-law, and the things that I've got, I've had to work for. And when I was younger, I couldn't always get the video games that I wanted, but, on Christmas, I got for my birthday, I got a Super Nintendo, and, I had Mario Brothers with it because it came with it, and I didn't really have much after that. I mean, eventually I got a couple other games, Link to the Past, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, a few other games, but that was, here or there. They might have been in a used bin somewhere, or, they were on sale. It wasn't anything real special. And even like when I got an N64, that was after I had saved up enough money, because I actually rented it from Family Video, the actual console. I rented the console on weekends and would play until finally the point where I saved up money to get it. And then even then, the first game that I had, I want to say was Pokemon Stadium, and I played that for weeks and weeks and weeks until I could get Road Rash 64. But anyway, it's kind of, I'm sorry, I went on a tangent. It's kind of one of those things that there's some people that, they'll save for the system because they didn't really give a price, but you save for the system, and then it's like, well, now I've got to buy these games, but I need to buy used because I'm not as well off. And then the always online, like, they kind of danced around it, like, they were talking about always being connected, but I didn't know if that always meant connected between the Xbox and the cable box, for the Switch to Live TV, or always connected between my phone and my Xbox, or the Kinect being, listening to other devices, or what it meant exactly. But it said always connected. And I can understand if that functionality of it, of the fact that in order to do the live TV, to get on the internet, to, watch the movies and do this, connect with my phone, I can understand that aspect always having to be online because it constantly has to update itself, and they had the what's trending thing, so it always had to be there to update. I can understand that. The gaming aspect of it, though, I didn't really see a need for it. I still saw games being played, and that being said, they only really showed two games. They showed Forza 5, Forza, I think that's how, Forza 5, and eventually Call of Duty Ghosts. Which Call of Duty Ghosts, actually, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, Call of Duty Ghosts, another Call of Duty game. But now that they showed this, I was like, wow, they actually are putting some detail into it and some work, and they're like, it's not Modern Warfare 4, so, that might be cool. I've honestly lost faith after Modern Warfare 3, but we'll see what happens. Another thing that kind of put me down, oh, big time, was the EA relationship. The fact that EA rep came out, was just like, oh, we got all these great things, and I honestly, I was excited during the reveal up until that point. As soon as that EA rep came out, I was like, well, you just shot yourself in the foot. EA isn't good for anything. I mean, they're the ones that came up with the online pass. They're the ones that came up with buying extra content. I've said this in my previous videos, and when I did with my buddy Seth, with the Heisman winners, they're like, oh, you can play with the Heisman winners if you buy them, and they never state that. So, you have all this stuff, but it's like you're going to have to pay extra for it. They're going to nickel and dime you every way that they can. They're going to give you something and then only give you half of it, and you have to pay for the other half. On top of the $60, the top of the $70, whatever it is that you're going to have to pay for a game. And EA just doesn't do good for companies. and I hate to say it, but if this is the business practice of always online, no use games, and they've got this huge relationship with EA, I don't see this lasting very long, and I honestly don't. And it's not just Xbox. I mean, if PlayStation did it or whatever, and if it's the end of Xbox, hey, they've had a good run, but I understand EA is this huge company and they have a lot of money, but you know how they do that? They take companies and they kill them. That's how they make money. That's like how they do it in the corporate world. Corporations will buy other corporations, fire people, and then sell the dividends of it. They sell them. Sell the rights to the company, whatever. And that's what EA pretty much does. They go in, they shill the company as much as they can, get what they can out of them, destroy them, and then get rid of them and sell off the brand. So, that's unfortunately the bad side, the downside. Kind of excited though. They announced the Halo TV series, and Steven Spielberg is directing. Kind of blew my mind because Steven Spielberg doesn't do bad work. I mean, yeah, we kind of, the whole ET replacing the guns with walkie-talkies, and South Park had this whole thing about him touching shit that shouldn't be touched. I can understand that. But honestly, he doesn't do bad work. It's not like, oh, it's Michael Bay. So, it's cool. The only thing I didn't like, and they'll probably reveal more at E3, is they just said it's a Halo show, TV series. They didn't say, is it following Master Chief? Is it following a different Spartan 2 like Linda or Kelly or Jacob? Or is it on the Spartan 3s? Is it on the Spartan 4s? Is it on a group of Marines? Is it on ODSTs? Are they making a new Spartan, a Spartan 5? Because apparently 343 just loves to make Spartans out of nowhere. Not even going to go into Spartan 4s. That's a different topic for a different day. But, it's something that I'm looking forward to, and if it's done right, I'm going to love it. If it's done crappily and they're just kind of throwing it together, then forget it. But anyway, leave your questions and comments below. Like I said, I'm going to link the website for my buddy to kind of, help you guys check out the specs of it. But otherwise, yeah, leave your comments below, leave any questions, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and keep it here for all your Big Man Gaming news. And I know this week I said I was going to talk about Mass Effect 3, and there's so much I want to talk about Mass Effect 3 now that all the DLC's out and the story's pretty much wrapped into a package. But stuff keeps coming up. I'm sorry. Next week, if nothing comes up that's major like this, I will. Next week, for sure, Mass Effect 3, my thoughts on everything, the DLC, and the story wrapped all in one bundle. So I'll see you guys next week. Also, next week, Rear Window Review. We're going to have episode 2. We were supposed to be doing Conan the Destroyer, but we realized that was like, it's not technically the third one, it's actually the second one, but Red Sonja's in there, so we just kind of left it, and we're like, okay, it's kind of hard. So we went to our third pick, The Thing, and then we picked for, technically the third pick, is now The Karate Kid, the original. Make sure you catch that. We watched it, and we're now working on writing the notes for it. Also, I want to say catch the podcast. I'm going to be uploading that here at the same time as this. And I want to on Thursdays or Fridays. I'm leaning more towards Friday. Start doing a personal vlog about myself. I feel it's something I would like to do. You guys know my gaming aspect and a little bit of my life, but I actually want people that follow me to know about my life. There's certain things that have happened in my life and places I've been and people I've hung out with that I would like people to know what happened. So I think Friday I'll be starting it, so make sure to look out for that. So otherwise, I'll catch you guys next week. And once again, don't forget to click that subscribe button and leave a question or comment for the Big Man Gamer. I love questions. I love comments. I love, even if it's negative criticism on something that I could work on. If you want to say, hey, you're fat, go for it. I love to hear you guys' comments, and I love to know what you guys think. So, I'll catch you guys next week. I love you guys. See you next week.
was a nightmare.